Julia Rachel Patel always thought, and Julia, pay attention. Yes, you can do it. So, Julia Patel Ritchell always thought that she was born on December 3rd, 1921. Because her mother, Sita Jamila Patel, told her she was born on the feast of St. Barbara. But recently, when she went to have her license renewed, she discovered through official documents that she was actually born on November 15th, 1921. Julia was born on Mill Street in Paterson, New Jersey, and had a leg problem as a child that presumably was a congenital hip dislocation that required surgery. She was in a cast up to her hip and stayed in the hospital for over 6 months. Maybe that's why she is the way she is. Aunt Julie worked first at Fattel's Silk Mill with her father and siblings, and then at Louis Fattel's Silk Mill as a twill winder. And Aunt Julia, I looked and I Googled for over a day to find out what a twill winder was. And I couldn't find out what it was. So, what was it, Aunt Julie? I don't know. So then it doesn't matter. Then she worked as a sewer at Chenille, and finally at H&D Sportswear on Courtney Street in Patterson, and then went to Patterson. She met Uncle Eddie, and they married on May 22nd, 1949, and had a loving marriage until Uncle Ed's untimely death from pancreatic cancer in 1985 at the age of 58. With his passing, Julia lost her soulmate, and to this day, tears well in her eyes when we invoke his memory. And this party is as much a tribute to Uncle Eddie as it is to Aunt Julie. Uncle Ed was a man ahead of his time. He was conscious of fuel economy and drove fuel-efficient cars when everyone else was driving gas guzzlers. He bought a Jeep decades before they were fashionable. His was a real Jeep from the Army. He would buy in bulk, years before there was a Costco or a BJ's. It wasn't uncommon for him to get up on a Saturday, drive to some obscure farm in New York, and come home with 50 pounds of onions. When most of us would go to the shore for vacation, he and Aunt Julie would head north to New Hampshire. I now understand the wisdom in his decisions, which in his time was considered avant-garde. He was a wonderful man. But those are the cold, hard facts about Aunt Julie. So I'd like to digress and tell you things you may not know about our grand old aunt. Aunt Julia the Optimist. It is the convention to group people in either of two categories. Either you are in the glass is half empty group, or you are in the group is half full. But Aunt Julie is in a special group all of her own. She is in the glass is totally full and overflowing. Aunt Julie could walk up to a ramshackle, run-down, ugly old barn full of horse manure and garbage covering every square inch of yard. And she'd look at it and she'd say, "But there's a pony in there." She is an up person and ready for a laugh at all times. Her laugh is infectious, and as you'll see in our presentation shortly, she is a virtual stand-up comedian. Aunt Julia, the loyal sister. Pay attention, Aunt Mary. When Uncle Eddie died, Aunt Mary, who was at the time living with my parents in the wild frontiers of Monroe, or Monroe as Aunt Julia pronounced it, saw her opportunity to escape and move back to the civilization of New Jersey. And now, that's how it's been for the past 26 years. So, she moved in with Aunt Julia 26 years ago. Now, mix Aunt Julie's easygoing, la-di-da outlook with Aunt Mary's strong, controlling, well, let's face it, Aunt Mary, sometimes you're a little bossy. Only sometimes. Anyway, in the beginning, the two of them fought like newlyweds, getting used to the other one's ways. But eventually, things settled down, and as Aunt Julie puts it, I just gave up. It's no use. So now, 108 Rock Hill Road is the main office of the Shrine of the Blessed Virgin Mary Hotel. With Aunt Julia as its executive secretary. They sure do have a positive attitude and an exceedingly refreshing outlook on life. They are the eternal optimists. Why, for example, just this week, the finishing touches were put on their brand new redone kitchen. At the ages of 90 and 99 and a half. They installed ceramic tile and granite because they last longer. Of Vincent Favorito Sr. Most people their age wouldn't buy green bananas. Much less